Okay, now I want to show you how to use a function. I showed you how to use put in a formula, but now we're going to use a function. Let me show you. This is where we left off just a second ago, and you see if I click on B13, I see my formula. Okay, well, I don't want to use this anymore. What I want to use is a function. So we're going to do the same thing as before. We are going to tell Excel that we want to do some sort of mathematical operation. So I enter the equal sign. Now what I can do now is I can look up here, and you'll see sum is here. This is a function. This right here, this pull down, gives me a list of the functions that I have used recently. Okay, now yours are going to be different because if you used different functions more recently, you won't see sum here. But what you want to do you see this little function sign right here? I can click on that, and here I can type in what function I want to search for if I don't see it here. Again, this, you may see something different. This is going to order the functions based on what you've used most recently. But let's say I don't see sum on there, so I'm going to type in up here. I'm going to type in sum, alright, and I'm going to go, and there it is, right up there at the top. There are different kind of sums, sum if, etc., etc. Okay, and there's a brief description. Sum just says adds all the numbers in the range. That's what we want. Okay, so I selected that, I click OK. Alright, now what has happened is Excel has put in up here the function, the sum, which is adding up all the numbers that I tell it to. So then I tell it a range. What Excel does is it tries to think a little bit for you, and so it said, well, based on how you've got your numbers laid out, I'm betting you want to add from B2 up to B12. Alright, so it's already added that in for you, and if that's what I wanted to add, then I could just hit OK. But let's say that I only wanted to add well, let's go ahead and just do this one, and I'll show you something. So there we go. We've got sum, okay, which is adding all those up from B12 to, or B2 to B12, this range in here. But let's say I wanted to get a sum of how are my patients doing halfway through. So let's say halfway sum. Okay, so how are they doing halfway through my program? Alright, now let's see, I'm going to do just as before. Put in this. Now if I see some here, I can click on this. Okay. Now look at what look at what Excel has done. It said, I think you want to add B2 to B14. Well, no, I don't actually, because I don't want the previous sum in there. Maybe I only want the first 5 weeks. Okay. So what I can do over here is I click here on this button here, and then I can select a range. Well, I just drag, point and click. I want to get the first 5 weeks of the program. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and I hit enter, and it'll jump back here, and then I hit OK, and looky there. So now, for the first 4 weeks, our halfway point, this person exercised 16 times. Over the entire course of the, say, weight loss program, they exercised 40 times. Okay, so you see here how I can use functions rather than have to go B2 plus B3 plus this, and I just write in the sum and I give it the range. And as you can see, if I wanted to use other functions, there's a ton of different functions, and we'll be using some of these throughout. So if I wanted an average, if I wanted to get a median, standard deviation, etc. Alright, so now you see how to use the functions.